government auditing standards. This is required because you are a Louisiana government. You're required to do an extra layer of audit where we do additional procedures to make sure that you're in compliance with the laws and regulations regarding financial matters involved in the state of Louisiana, and as well as your federal awards and that sort of thing. So very pleased to report here, no material weaknesses in internal control were found and no instances of non-compliance. Our third report is the one that we do. It's called the single audit. This is your audit of the federal expenditures. And this year, your total federal awards expended were about $7.8 million compared to about $12.8 million last year. And that fluctuates from year to year depending on the funding. You had a large amount of ESSER money the year before and some COVID money that kind of, inflated that normal funding. So we're kind of getting back to those normal levels of funding now. Very pleased to report here. This was also a clean opinion and no material weaknesses in internal control and no instances of non-compliance noted as well. On the next page, because you're a school board, we also are engaged to do a set of agreed upon procedures related to BESI, and we are pleased to report here that there were no exceptions noted to those procedures. And then our fifth report is the accountant's report on applying the agreed upon procedures related to the statewide agreed upon procedures. This is a laundry list of procedures that we do that the state prescribes. The legislature requires them, and most of them have to do with basic internal controls and good best practice policies and procedures to ensure that your payroll is being done properly, your expenditures, your contracts, those types of things, and also that you're following laws related to ethics training, sexual harassment training, all those types of things. So we were able to do an abbreviated version of this year because they allowed us in odd years, if you did not have any exceptions in a particular area, then we did not have to do those areas. And so we were also able to reduce the fees and the cost to the school board as well. So the areas that we did do this year, we did not have any exceptions reported in those areas.
Thank you.
And then we did not have the need for a management letter to be issued this year either. So just to start going through, any questions on that so far?
Management letter, if you got a management letter.
Management letter would usually be like performance things or things that didn't quite rise to the level that there would be a formal finding or issue in any of those previous reports that I mentioned, but might be a matter that we'd want to bring to the board and to management to discuss.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So financial results for the year, your net position held very steady, which I think is a very good indication that this board and the finance department and the superintendent have a very good control over your revenues and expenditures, and you're operating at that good, zero balance level, as I should say. If you'll notice, the red restricted for debt service and grants section is zero this year, and that's two components. One, you did pay off all your debt from the loan that you've carried for years, and also in the previous year you had a small amount of grants that were restricted, and that was much more timely done. The reimbursement process is very fast again, and the state is paying faster. So those are all positive things to look forward to. So in reality, your financial position is even stronger than it was before. And then you did increase your net investment in your capital assets. For total assets, that did decrease a good bit, But if you notice the orange section, a large amount of those other assets were about $6 million of investments that were set aside to pay the debt. And y'all had been accumulating those over the years to then make that balloon payment on the debt in 2025. So that's the story there. So although our assets did decrease, the difference really, can be explained in that manner, and the overall change makes a lot of sense, and you're still in a very positive position for assets. Notably, you still have a strong cash position of $4.7 million. For total revenues, we did have a decrease down to $36.7 million this year. A good part of that was a decrease in operating grants, and as I had mentioned earlier, a lot of those are those federal grants that were related to ESSERS, and that money is just starting to kind of dwindle off because the COVID funding is going away. So that makes a lot of sense. The other numbers are relatively pretty flat, or only minor decreases. So your revenue streams are still staying pretty steady considering that COVID effect. For expenditures, we did have an increase to $44 million this year. However, when we take out the $6.1 million of debt service expenditures, which was the payoff of that debt, which kind of inflates that number, we actually had a decrease in overall expenditures of about $1 million for the year. So, you can see that clearly, that red section of debt service inflates it a little bit, but we know what was happening with that, and that's just because the way that we have to account for it in your general fund is to show it as an expenditure, and so it, kind of makes it seem different, but that was related to the debt. It's not, and you had all of the money set aside already to pay that off. All right. Next up, we always do a salaries and benefits percentage on the total of your total expenditures, and I should have kind of maybe adjusted for that debt service, because I think that is skewing that number a little bit, but your salaries and benefits should land around that 50% mark anyway, so we're kind of in that neighborhood and kind of standing strong with that. So, okay. Our general fund balance. This is our unassigned portion, is down to $6.4 million, but as you can see, compared to back in 2021 when we were at 0.2, we've come a long way.
Yes.
And it's still a very strong fund balance, and still, holding steady. And honestly, when we start building too much, it means we're not really spending, everything. And you kind of want to keep that balance, so where you're spending what's coming in on the children and on your capital and things you need to spend it on. But want to leave enough so that if there's a hurricane, if something's happening, you have that contingency in place.
Right.
Next up is our long-term liabilities. And it's always great to see this decrease. So you can see that our bright blue at the top was that $6 million debt that we have now paid off. And then the rest of these items are going to be things that really are going to stay in place. These are basically accounting level things. That's your net pension liability.
Okay.
And I've explained this in past presentations, but I want to just go over it again to make sure everybody has heard this before. The net pension liability is not really a number that you as the board have any control over. And that is because that is your participation in the state plans. And those state plans are the ones that make all of the decisions on the investment of those plans, and they determine what your contribution rate has to be for both what the employees pay in and what the board pays in based on a percentage of payroll. So basically, we're happy to see that decrease, but it could also increase if the market really was bad or something happened and they don't do as good of a job of managing those investments, and you would just have to take that accounting differential and deal with that. But one of the things that the legislative auditor does when they're looking at the financial health of your school board is they take that out of the number when they're looking at it first, because they know that's a number that you're not controlling. So, and same thing with bonding agencies, they know the relationship there. But on a good side is the OPEB, which is your retiree health insurance, did have a decrease in that liability, which means that you're taking steps to manage the cost of that plan. So that's a positive, because that's not a number that is as influenced by investments, because you're not, in a trust or anything like that.
Right.
So that means that you're truly managing the cost of the premiums and taking steps to monitor that, and not just when there's an increase say, okay, right? So that's very good. And that's all I have for you today. Any questions? So overall, I think the board is in a healthy position, and I encourage you as the board just to keep it that way, obviously. If you ever have anything that you need from me or would like to discuss any questions that you have with the financial statements, I understand Ms. Walker's given you a book previously.
Right.
But if there's anything that you have questions on, you can always reach me. My information is on that second page.
Okay.
You can call me or email me, and I would be happy to meet with you or talk over the phone with you about any questions you have. And lastly, I just want to thank Ms. Walker and her staff. They are absolutely a joy to work with, and my staff always just really enjoy working with them. So appreciate it.
Ms. Becky, thank you and your staff for what you're doing. I know it was a tedious task along with the finance committee here. And we just thank you for taking that and bringing us up to date where we are.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then I just also wanted to bring your attention to, I also have this required communications document. No surprises in here, but this just basically is our required communications in accordance with auditing standards, where we have to tell you about the conduct of the audit and, a lot of things about what our standards require. And just please to note, we did not have any disagreements with management. Nothing of note in here. We did implement a new standard, which was the compensated absences standard, which just meant that we had to start recording a liability for any sick leave that might be used, whereas the previous version, it would have only been if it had been paid out. So that did increase your liabilities by a little bit, but really not a substantial change there. So, but just, wanted to let you know this is here, and if you have any questions on this, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Becky.
you.
And Ms. Baker, I just want to add on, North Shore Charter is included in our report this year, but this is the last year that they have to be included in our report.
Okay.
And I gave y'all a copy of North Shore's in your.
Yeah, I saw that.
The picture.
Thank you.
And we also had a disclosure in here in the subsequent events to make that known to the public, that it would no longer be a component unit going forward.
Okay,
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Becky.
thank you. And at this time, we want to open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public want to speak on our 2025 audit report, what you just heard from Ms. Becky? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. All in favor of accepting the report?
Well, we didn't make a motion yet, but I'll make the motion that we
Okay.
accept it. Anybody second?
Got the motion? We have a motion and a second to accept our audit report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Next item we have is number 4. Receiving and consider approval of March 2026 revised budget and financial statements, general fund, food service, special revenues, and school activity.
In your folders, you have the revised budgets for March 2026 and the financial statements. And the law states anytime anything is over 5% that we have to revise the budget. So I had to go in and make some, as budget special. We have to, anything 5% over or under, 5% increase in revenue or 5% increase in expenditures, we have to do a budget revision. So the budget would reflect that I did go in and make some revisions, because it's working document, every day, things may change, I may have higher expenditures this month in this line, or the next month, might not be anything, so, and then some line items had zero expenditures that may have been expended last year that we're not using this year, so I go in and close those out, close it out to zero, well, that budgeted item don't have to be there this year.
Okay.
So, that's what I worked on, getting the budget in line, and also have our financial statement and some other budget revisions for federal programs. That's also included in your statements.
All right, thank you, Ms. Walker.
Okay, at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Do we have anyone in the public want to speak on the issue? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. Do we have any board committee members want to speak on this revised budget? Okay, if not, could I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
My second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Right, motion carried. Next, we have item 5. Receive and consider approval of adopted millage rate for 2026. Ms. Walker?
Okay, the millage rate, has already been approved by the voters, but every year revised statute tell us we have to adopt our millage rate for each year. So that's what is included. No vote has to be taken from the public. Every year we have to bring it to you to get the millage rates approval. And I will read them out in the next board meeting, each millage that we have, because it's a resolution that I have to read.
Okay.
So this is just, a process that we have to go through every year, and it's a revised statute.
And again, it changes every year depending on how much money the city,
No, well, the
amount.
the millage don't change, but the amount is collected may change.
Right.
Because you may have some people who drop off the roll, you may have some people that add to the roll, unless, they do a reassessment year. So, but it stays the same, it's no vote to the public, this is already set, the voters already have approved these, but we just have to adopt our millages annually.
Okay.
So I'll do that in our next meeting, I'll read off the resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Now we'll open it up to, do we have anyone in the public want to speak on this issue? Adopted millage. If not, we'll bring it back to the table. Could I get a motion?
Motion.
We have to let Brad and Ms. Bro. They said
Okay.
they ain't-
I'll make the motion. We, adopt this millage rates for 2026.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. Next, we have receive and consider approval of one-time gas stipend of $500 to contract bus operators.
Okay. What this is that, since gas is elevated at this time, a couple of my bus drivers came and asked me, is there anything we can do to help them? So I'm asking that the board approve a one-time stipend of $500 to our bus drivers. And that's the only one who drive their own buses.
Okay.
Because we own several buses too, so it would just be those that's owned by,
And the ones who just
contracted. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot.
Okay, where do the people that, the city of Bogusa owns buses?
We give them a gas card to pay for theirs.
Oh,
but
that's what I was gonna ask. Okay,
I think that's, reasonable.
let me finish my question, please.
At this time,
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
yeah.
Answer my question before I finish.
Well, at this
Oh, I
time, we'll,
did.
at this time, we'll open it up to the public. Do we have anyone want to speak on this issue? If not, we'll bring it back to the table. Could I get a motion?
I move that we approve these gas stipends.
And I second.
I have a motion and a second. At this time, all in favor? Aye. Motion carried, none opposed. And at this time,
Brother Kate,
that's a closing of the
I want to
committee.
add one to this meeting. I'll make a motion that, motion and second that to amend the agenda to add to our business, the board meeting, item, number 5.
Okay.
To add number
Dr. Cook,
5.
you can't do it in this meeting.
Can't do it at this
Oh,
meeting.
But
Yeah,
you
do that
can, she
regularly.
can, I think she wanted to discuss it at this time. She
Okay.
can add on to the finance
Okay.
part, but in the next meeting, that's where you will add that item
All
to the
right,
agenda.
Okay, what is that you wanna add?
She wants to do something
She
on
wants to,
personnel.
On personnel?
Yes.
Okay, that's coming under finance?
Yes, she can
Okay.
put it.
All right.
Okay, if you look in your goal folders, it's a job description. for our supervisor of curriculum and instruction. As you know that we had did a posting because we're gonna hire in that position. And we realized there was an error because we did not update the job description prior to. So we want to correct that, and then we're gonna start all over with the reposting, because we wanna do it right. Okay, as you see, you have the job description before you. You have red and blue ink coloring. The red is what we're gonna take out, and the
Okay.
blue is what we're gonna put in. As you see, we have it already titled Curriculum and Instruction Elementary Supervisor. We're gonna update that to Supervisor of Curriculum and Instruction.
What that means, it could include either both.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
That makes sense.
And also, we wanna update some of the minimum qualifications also. As you see there, about maybe 2 months ago, Dr. Cook, he wanted me to revise where it reads United States citizen or authorized alien. He was not happy with that wording, so he wanted to be more legal. So we updated that wording to read, must be legally authorized to work in the United States.
That makes
And
sense.
also, you will see the qualifications listed there in blue is what we're gonna add, as well as the degree level that is required for the position. Okay? And the other outtakes. in the
Anything else
job
just taken
description
out?
as well.
Elementary
Yes,
now, yeah, okay.
Okay?
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Bosch.
That makes
Thank you,
sense.
Ms. Bosch.
Which makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
because they both are curriculum, and, so they both do the same
Same
thing,
thing,
just
yeah.
different levels.
Right,
That's
right.
covering both schools, secondary and
ma'am.
elementary.
All you're doing is eliminating.
Just eliminate the name, just cover elementary. and
That
secondary.
makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, after that discussion, we can add that when we get to regular board meeting.
Okay.
We discussed it, so now we would just have to add it when we get to our regular board meeting. Okay, at this time, that will close out our finance committee meeting. Thank y'all for your patience and understanding.
Just take roll.
Next, we go to building and ground. Dr. Cook, go to building and ground.
Building and Grounds Committee.
Okay.
Everyone here.
As chairman of Buildings and Grounds, there is no business concerning buildings or ground, and nothing that needs to be discussed or brought before the public, so I'm gonna call it.
What was the last we heard, or wasn't there an AC that you were looking at
Yes, sir.
to replace? Has there been any progress on that?
Yes, it has been awarded to the contractor to start on. He said it's a, how many, 4 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks.
Lead time
Weeks time, yes,
to
sir.
get it in? Okay.
And he ordered it today.
And the price includes installation,
Correct.
everything, maintenance, okay. Gotcha.
And also, we,
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
looking
Where's
at,
that gonna
I didn't
be
know
moved
that
at
from?
Central's
You did.
I didn't mean to
cafeteria.
write your parade.
No,
That's all I
No.
remember.
On top of Central's
Okay.
cafeteria,
I remember we
Right.
talked about that
We had
last
that
month,
discussion.
yeah.
cause they got to get a lift, take it off, put the new one on. It's a huge project.
Yeah, it's a project.
And also, we're working on the
Actually,
boiler
more than a
at,
lift, it's
high
going to be a
school.
crane.
You know, it went out in the heating
A ball
Yeah.
still
in
That's
the
good.
auditorium.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be very expensive.
A
So,
ball is still inside.
Is it in a bag?
yes. I didn't think they had a boiler in the auditorium, but it is for, you know, we have Central Air, but they have that boiler in there.
And that's on the
So,
project too, on the list. of
We're working on,
Location.
with a company, we're working on that, cause it's running expensive, close to $100,000.
Right, well, like you said, it's because of the location it's in, you know, it's hard to get in and out of, you know, not just anybody can do that job.
Yeah, no, cause it's, and we got other boiler situation at other schools, so we've been working with Metro, who's our contractor for this type of work, our
Maybe-
maintenance.
Maybe they give
So,
us a discount.
we're working on it, trying to,
I just need to ask, are there other things that we can do that are not as expensive, or that's the cheapest route to
that's the
go?
cheapest route. What he did for me at Northside, he did an alternative to look and see if units would be cheaper than what they looking at replacing the boiler. So it might be cheaper what he has given to me for Northside, because he said replacing those boilers so old. I don't know if you ever seen that steam coming up out of the ground. If you pass by Northside, it comes up. So if we have an alternative that he has given me, that we may go with.
Yeah,
So-
they don't even make the parts for those anymore.
So
They
I don't
make
think, he
parts
said
for
it's so old, that school's so old. So we are looking at other alternatives that, to not put that actual boiler system back, but go with something else to
Yes, ma'am.
take out. But we might have to put a whole boiler system in, north side.
You wanna end the meeting?
Yes.
Unless anybody from the.
Well, we didn't even call the meeting to order or.
Yeah, he was just
roll call
talking,
or
yeah.
nothing.
He just asked the question, and we really didn't have, but that's what we had discussed at the last,
Yeah.
meeting.
Old business. So, I guess we need to call the, building and ground meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Dr. Williams.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mr. Crib.
Here. And as I initially said, since there's no new business before the committee, and there's nothing to be brought before the public for discussion, meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Now call them order for our regular meeting. Ask, Paul Case, would you lead us in prayer?
Can we wait till exactly 4:30, please?
4:30? Okay. One moment, okay.
We waiting at 4:30?
What?
We had a regular agenda for the regular meeting. She just got the regular meeting agenda.
She have a regular meeting.
Okay.
I can make that in addition to what
Yeah, we'll do that, let's do it at the roll.
That's when you let go.
Thank you. Ask Paul Case to lead us in prayer.
Oh, Heavenly Father, we wanna thank you this afternoon for each and every one of us who's present at this Bogalusa City School Board meeting. We ask you to look down on us, we ask you to
Yes.
watch over us.
Yes.
We ask you that we run this meeting orderly, and we ask that we going forward with the Bogalusa school system. So Father God, we just thank you for everyone's health and strength in here. We just thank you for all that you do for all of us, and we thank you for what you do for the city school system in Bogalusa. We thank you in Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to say something before we start. As you all know, I'm handicapped. I have a handicap sign. I have a handicap letter from the doctor. And I do not appreciate Ms. Watkins not standing for the prayer of the pledge. I don't appreciate it. I know she doesn't like us, but if she's gonna come here, she's gonna have to follow the rules or get out.
First of all.
No, I don't wanna hear from you. I don't hear, I
That's
don't wanna
it.
hear from
Order.
you.
I serve my
I don't
country
wanna
for a
hear from
reason.
you. No, you don't serve your country. You serve the
All right.
devil. That's what you said. The devil.
We have roll call, please.
Roll call.
And you gonna have to cut that out and get out in a minute. Keep talking out like that, she's gonna have to go. And I'm not playing with you.
Roll call. Roll call.
Roll call. Ms. Bro,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Cates,
Here.
Mr. Krill,
Here.
Mr. Hughes,
Here.
Dr. Cook.
Present. Before we get started, I'd like to make a motion and second that we amend the agenda to add item number 5 to our new business.
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Anyone from the floor?
Dr. Cook, can you please state what the amendment's gonna be, what the name of the agenda item is going to be?
Item number 5 will be to consider to change the title of job description, curriculum, and instruction elementary supervisor to supervisor of curriculum and instructions. And also to provide the minimum job requirements thereof. Anyone from the floor? Floor.
I make a motion that we add to the agenda supervisor of curriculum and instructions.
I second that motion.
She gonna follow.
I second that motion.
Motion and second.
Second motion.
I'm not playing with you.
Renika Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. Was there a, excuse me?
Hey, Mr. Nico.
Hey, Mr. Hughes, you have made it back. Praise God. Was there a personnel committee meeting? What, excuse me, I'm sorry, Chair, to the chair?
I'm telling you,
To the
I'm
chair,
vice president.
could you
I'm telling
please,
you.
Okay.
to the chair, could you please allow me
Like
my
that man
time?
like a dog and go talk
Go ahead,
about
go
welcome
ahead.
back.
Sir, yes, was there a personnel committee meeting to discuss the information that has been added in number 5?
You missed it.
Okay, thank you.
Bring it back to the board. Roll call.
Hold it on fall for that witchcraft.
Roll call. Vice President Ms. Bro,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Cates,
Here.
Mr. Krill,
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes,
Here.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes.
You may have to call the police. I'm not tolerating that tonight.
Go to item number B, approval of minutes for March 26, 2026 meeting, regular board meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes of March 26th of 2026 board meeting.
I second that motion.
Moved in second. Anyone from the floor? Floor is clear. Anyone from the table, from the board? Board is clear. Roll call?
Roll call. Vice President Ms. Bro,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Item number C, presentations.
Done.
She came earlier.
She came early.
Okay, all right. Item number D, new business. Number 1, first item, consider a motion to approve of June 30, 2025 audit report.
I'll move that we approve this audit report, especially coming from Ms. Dolores Walker, who has won state and national awards for our school system with her awesome audit report.
I second that motion.
Been moved, motion and second. Do we have anyone from the floor? Floor is clear. Anyone from the?
Yes,
Okay.
I would like to congratulate Ms. Walker. She does an excellent job. She has, ever since she's been on the board, and I do appreciate it. We never have financial problems.
No,
We have
never,
other problems,
never.
but not financial. And I thank you, Ms. Walker, and your staff.
My staff
Because I
has
know
done a
you
great
couldn't do
role.
it without your
I
staff.
work hard.
Couldn't do it without them.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome
Thank you
staff.
for all you do.
We have roll call.
Roll call. Vice President Ms. Bro,
Here.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Item number 2, consider a motion to approve March 2026 revised budget and financial statement, general fund, food service, special revenue, and school activities.
I'll make a motion that we approve the revised budget for 2026 financial statement.
Second.
Motion and second. Anyone from the floor? Floor is clear. Anyone from the board? Board is clear. We have roll call.
Roll call, Vice President Ms. Burrow,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Item number 3, adopt millage rates for 2026.
I make that motion that we adopt the millage rate for 2026.
I second the motion.
Moved in second. Do we have anyone from the floor?
I have to read the resolution, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Be it resolved that the following millages are hereby levied on the 2026 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by Bogalusa City Schools of the Parish of Washington, Louisiana. Giving additional support for construction, maintaining, operation, and improving the public elementary and secondary schools, 22.05. Support paying salaries and benefit for all school personnel, 11.990. Constitutional tax, 6.430. Maintenance of schools, 7.750. Improving, maintaining, and operating schools, 3.110. Maintenance and operation, 5.020. Giving additional support for the current operation of public and secondary schools, 6.4400. Be it further resolved that the proper administrative officials of the Parish of Washington, State of Louisiana, be and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as herein above set forth upon the assessment roll of the said parish for the year 2026, and to make the collection of taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority, according to the law, that the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by the law. The foregoing resolution was read in full, the roll was called, and the adoption thereof, and the following votes adopted the resolution. You can take it
Thank
to
you,
the
Ms.
floor
Walker.
now.
Excuse me for going ahead of you. Appreciate that.
I'm sorry.
All right. Anyone from the floor? Floor is clear. Anyone from the table? Board is clear. Have roll call?
Roll call, Vice President Ms. Burrow,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Item number 4, consider a motion to approve a one-time gas stipend of $500 to contracted bus operators.
I make a motion, to accept that.
I second.
Motion and second. Do you have anything to say on that, Ms. Walker?
No, I just was, as I stated earlier in the
Okay,
committee,
all right.
that, since gas is so high, we wanted to help our contracted drivers who own their own buses to get them a stipend to help with gas.
Okay, thank you. Anyone from the floor? Floor is clear. Back to the board.
One question, Ms. Walker. I know you told me in a previous conversation, how many contract drivers do we
We
have?
have, I think it's, 9.
I was my.
Nine. And as I stated earlier to the board, that the buses that's owned by the district, the general fund picks up their gas,
4,000.
4,500.
45.
Any other comments from the board? Roll call?
Roll call, Vice President Ms. Burrow,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Item number 5, we amended to. I want to consider a motion, second, to change the title of job description, curriculum and instruction elementary supervisor to supervisor of curriculum and instructions, and to provide for for the minimum job requirement thereof.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Anyone from the floor?
Felicia Mingo, 734 Avenue G. How you doing? My question is, will this be one job or two? Are we still doing elementary and secondary supervisor, or is just one job?
Well, right now, he just wanted, Dr. Hurst wanted it in just in case. We don't have an elementary yet. I think we're trying to do, one by, high school. But we don't wanna have to go back and redo the job description, you know, and it's basically the same thing, so that's why we just wanted to make it one thing. But he's gonna re-advertise.
Okay, so it's still gonna be two jobs though, right?
Yes.
Okay,
eventually.
okay. Okay, so on the job description, what's gonna be added? Does it show what's gonna be added
Yeah,
or what's
it
gonna be
was on
taken
there.
away? We didn't get those.
Yeah,
It's
these
on
copies
there.
right here.
I got a copy.
Okay.
It's on there.
Okay.
She said the, I
Anything
think
in blue.
the blue is, what is added, and the red is what they're taking out.
It's me,
And
guys.
it's all
It's
on
me,
this,
guys.
it's all on
Yeah.
this sheet.
Oh.
No, it's copies over here. Rick,
There's copies over there.
you hold that.
You can get, I think, did you want a copy too, Carl? Carl wants a copy also.
No, that's it.
Okay, so what I'm looking at here is,
Lizette, you got
I
any
have
more,
to
Miss
make one.
Watterson would like a copy.
I have to make some
She
more.
can have mine. I'll get another, Miss Watterson.
Yeah.
Think what you looking at.
We'll get another.
No, I'm gonna go and give it to him so we can move on.
yeah, but I
They
guess,
don't have elementary or
right.
Right.
But then she's saying it's still gonna be two jobs. It's gonna be an elementary and a secondary. So what I see is difference is the old job description says didn't have the 2 years experience as a school principal. So that is what's added. Can we get some clarification why that was added?
Well, I'm gonna tell you,
Doc-
okay,
Yes,
go
let's
on.
let the
Dr. Hurst.
superintendent speak.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I apologize, I'm gonna speak on that, I'm driving, I stopped because I had to speak at the legislature today. So, I'm asking the board to change the elementary supervisor to supervisor of curriculum and instruction. And the vision is that person will, supervise principals. So we asking that individual have principal experience. How can you supervise a principal and guide them in day-to-day operations and curriculum instruction if you never walked in that shoe? So we realize that as an executive team that we wanna make sure our principals have what they need. We have to put in front of them the right personnel to support and guide them. So those are the small changes that we're making. And the other position, the high school position, we're gonna reevaluate that, and make some recommendations to the board at a later date. So we're just asking for a change to this one position, we're gonna re-advertise, and then, move forward with that. And then we're gonna look at the other position and figure out how we can best utilize that person and make some changes and come back to the board.
Okay. So this really is just for the elementary person. This is
Well,
not even for
no,
secondary.
It's gonna be
It's for both.
It's for both.
It will wind up being for both.
Okay.
Right now, you just need an elementary.
Yeah.
And so now he's just gonna only advertise for the elementary.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
all right, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
No,
Elementary,
Not
we're
elementary.
changing the
He's not gonna
elementary
use
to a straight
elementary.
supervisor of
Right.
curriculum
Straight
instruction.
supervisor.
No
Yeah.
secondary,
That's
no
what I was
elementary
figuring it was
tags.
gonna be.
We're gonna be over all of them.
On one
All
job.
one job.
One job.
Okay.
And I think the reason
One
why
job.
is,
But
I
the other
think,
position, we're gonna repurpose it after my team and I sit down, and we're gonna look at it and see how we can best utilize that person to, help support the school.
and I think the reason why he's doing that is because we have put two people in that job that didn't have principal experience. Right. That's what he's doing now.
No.
That's why he adding and changing the description up.
Use it for the-
Renika Watkins, 707 Mississippi Avenue. First, I asked the chair if there had been a personnel committee meeting held today, and the answer was yes. If there was any committee meeting, it was not noticed in 24 hours in per Louisiana statute. So that committee could not possibly have met. it is unfair to the people to take up business that requires to hire people and have it say terms of employment, salary, and work year established by the superintendent. There is no financial information on this description. It doesn't tell us how much you plan on paying, the salary range. It's unclear and it's very vague if the chief academic officer has any school principal experience to be in a position to supervise people that are required to have more academic credentials than that individual has. There are 2 elementary schools in the city of Bogalusa, Bird Avenue and Central. You're telling me you need a person to come in and supervise those people when we have $100 and something thousand chief academic officer? We deserve to have personnel meeting where this is outlined and the community has its right to give its input on what this description made, and that we are holding this superintendent accountable for what parents and children need for a viable education within the city of Bogalusa. We need to stop hiring people just because and bringing in this man's friends. We need to get credible people who will, excuse me, sir, my time has been, I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time. With Bogalusa City School has only seen 0.02% growth. Why do we continue to add people in this secretive manner? This should have been given to the public prior to now. There should be personnel committee meeting held. It has not been held all school year. This is wrong. Thank you.
You did just make an allegation against a man. in public forum.
It is a true allegation that can be proven.
That's enough.
There
You
has
wait
been
from,
no
you wait from the
personnel
board.
committee meeting.
You're away from the table. That's it. That's enough.
Carla McGehee, 1309 Charwood Drive. So I'm a little confused. Is this a new position then? I mean, you renamed the 2 positions. You took away from what we had, which was the coordinator. I don't have a problem with any of it. I'm just saying, did you abolish that position and then come up with this position? Or are we renaming the old position?
Renaming the old position. You just changed the
You're renaming the old position to this, but you're only hiring one person for that position, correct? But are they gonna do elementary and, and high school? I mean, I get that. I think you probably could. I'm just saying, if it's not the same name as it was, so you would have, it's a new position then, or the responsibility's the
It
same?
actually is a new position because they renamed
Rename
it,
the
changed it, so
position
they
and
made it a new position.
A new position.
And the qualification.
That's why they are re-advertising.
That's why they're re-advertising, yes.
Yeah.
Dr.
Yeah.
Hurst still in
I don't know if he's still on there.
You would have to probably abolish the old ones and make this the new one, even if you brought the old one back at some point in time.
He's on there. He's,
What'd he say?
I think
Go ahead,
he's
Dr.
trying-
Hurst.
He's trying.
he's trying to log on.
Dr. Cook, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
We can hear you, sir.
And I'll defer to Dr. Hurst, but I'm understanding that the personnel, situations were usually handled in the finance committee meeting.
That's what we have in our finance, yes.
They don't have a personnel committee any longer, I don't think.
That's right, we have no personnel committee,
No, it's-
and we handle it under
Finance.
finance.
And how needed it is.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
And another thing, if I'm wrong, you all correct me, but I don't think on any job description they put the salary amount. I've never seen that.
We never
I know
have.
that- I know that what you can do, if I apply for a position and I'm interested in salary, when I go to my interview, I'm gonna ask, what is the salary? But I don't think it's ever been on the job description.
Ms. Grove, so it's, all we're asking is to take the elementary label off and just make it a
Yeah.
supervisor of curriculum and instruction. It's gonna still follow the supervisor pay scale.
It's still a new position.
Coordinator position, we're gonna reevaluate that, probably rename that to something else that better suits the, schools. And I'm gonna talk about that with my executive team, how we can better utilize that individual
And that'll be
to
outside of
support the
this.
schools.
So when you do that, you're
One
gonna bring
change, we
that
take
back.
the elementary off, and it's just gonna be a supervisor of curriculum and instruction, and they're gonna support all the schools on the supervisor pay scale.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
then it has to be,
It has to be brought back.
to the board to
Yes.
rename it.
Yeah, it's gonna be brought back. Thank you. Anyone else from
Thank you,
from the
Mr.
floor?
Hall.
Anyone from table?
No.
Table's clear. Roll call?
Roll call, Vice President Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, Dr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Cates,
Yes.
Mr. Krill,
Yes.
Mr. Hughes,
Yes.
President Dr. Cook.
Yes. Next item is our superintendent report, and I don't know if you hit, Dr. Hurst, you have anything you want to say?
No, just one thing, Ms. Harris present, HR report, but I just want to announce that, I went to the legislature today. Senator Mizell had a bill on the table to, require all school districts to stay on a 5-day work week. Now, of course, we were grandfathered in because she changed the bill because she had some opposition the last time. But some of the things that she said, kind of contradicted what was going on in Bogalusa. So I went down and told the committee, that some of the things that were mentioned were not necessarily true. And so I was going down to support Bogalusa City Schools, so we won't have a false narrative about what's going on. Her main concern was about kids not eating on Fridays.
Right.
Right.
Well, we offer breakfast and lunch on Fridays, and at one point, we were sending buses around to get all the students to come to summer school.
Right.
We just have to change the parents' mindset to say, hey, this is a service, send your kids, but as we see over time, those numbers got lower and lower, so which we had to reduce the number of buses we were sending out and personnel.
Right.
So we do offer it, but, I just wanted to clear it up with the committee, and another thing that she said was, industry don't wanna move to districts with 4-day work week because their employees don't have nobody to keep the kids on Friday. Well, and then they asked her, have any industry asked to move to Washington Parish, and said no because of a 4-day work week? She said no. So she couldn't prove that either. So my job was to go down there and defend Bogalusa City Schools, and that's what I did. So, and that's the reason I didn't make the board meeting, because I couldn't get back in time.
We
So
appreciate
that's all
you.
I have for an update. Ms. Cece is gonna give you the dates for the high school and everything that's going on for graduation and senior week, and of course the other schools. She's gonna hand that to you. And other than that, Ms. Harris can, unless I have any questions from the board members, Ms. Harris can give her HR update.
Thank you, Dr. Hurst, for representing us.
So again, it wasn't for lack of resources, it was just lack of participation, is what you're saying. We had the buses go out, and try to bring people
Right.
in, just wasn't having enough participation from families and students.
Yeah, and what's happening here is the same thing across the state. We have schools who have 4-day work weeks. Parents say, hey, we wanna have something for our kids on Mondays or Fridays. School system provide that, and we have a minimum amount that actually participate. And it's not just in Bogalusa. If you look at other 4-day school weeks, they have the same issue.
Yeah, that's what I heard at convention, talking to other people that had the 4-day week, other school board members, they said basically the same thing.
So thank you, and Ms. Harris, you're gonna give you an update.
All right.
I
Thank
don't have one.
Can I
Board
speak
member?
on this again? May I speak on this again?
Yeah, you can speak on it.
This, you have to vote on this job description, correct? Right? So, I'm just saying, where you added that you want them to have a be school principal, we only have 3 schools, so not many people on the inside are able, they may work with the principals, but they may not be a principal. All our supervisors don't have to have that. I mean, we have supervisors in Bogalusa City Schools right now that have never been a principal. Well, why?
I don't, it's not for every supervisor position, because
I understand.
the maintenance people wouldn't have to,
I'm not
it's-
talking about them, though.
I'm
Ms.
just
Bright.
saying,
Yeah.
it's just for those people who are gonna deal directly with education. But I understand.
Right, you're right,
Yeah,
is
the
what you're
supervisor, the
saying, but they don't
This is
all
all
that
about
deal with
instruction.
education
Yeah.
have this.
Well, let me kind of expound on that, because specifically, we have a young lady here at the board office that has worked with principals, has been over curriculum with principals, has done a lot with principals, and she doesn't qualify because she hadn't been a school principal. Have all the qualification, did all the work as a curriculum person, But because you threw this in, so now her name can't even be in the bucket. And she's been here for 20 years, working in the school system. I just don't feel like that's fair.
Let me tell you this, and you can call the State Department on this. I applied for principalship years and years ago, and somebody else applied. And they said that I needed 2 years then of, you had to be, a supervisor. They said you needed 2 years of principalship. Well, the person they hired didn't have it.
See,
But you
that's-
can call the State
thank you.
Department, and you can actually, they'll tell you exactly what the requirements are for the state of Louisiana. Because I had not a parent, I had a person to call me because her son was interested in that job, and he has a doctorate, and she didn't understand why he wasn't eligible just because he didn't have two. She talked about all the other things he did, but I told her, what you need to do is call the State Department.
Right.
Yeah, huh?
This is bogus.
Huh?
This isn't from the State
I
Department.
know, but they can tell you, what the state requires, the minimum. Yeah, they can tell you that, and that's all you really have to go by.
It's
But you-
educational leadership. You gotta have educational leadership. And that's,
All right, okay,
But not two.
no, not, no.
all right.
Go ahead. It just-
Number F, board members, comments?
No, I don't have anything.
I'd like to say that I appreciate those of you who, I like for you to come out to the board meetings, I really do, so you can know for yourself what is going on. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate your kindness and your respect for me, and I'm gonna respect you. On the other hand, I don't like people who just come here and wanna just be the devil and cause conflict and confusion. Has nothing positive, has no remedies for solving whatever the problem is. All they do is come here and try and tear us down. And not only do they come here, they go to the charter school, tear them down. They go to the, city, they tear them down. Some people, they need Christ, they need some help. And you know what? Those people, you cannot change. And I don't worry about it. They put on there about me, don't vote for me and all this kind of, stuff, that kind of stuff, it doesn't. She think it's funny. She really does.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
But it's not a joke. It's sincere. This should be about the kids and what's best for these kids. And that's all I want is what. And if you got some suggestions, you can bring them to us so we can listen to them. But don't just always be so critical. Everything, you have nothing the glass is always half empty with you. Always. And that's a sign of the devil, baby. But I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I just pray for that person because God has been good to me.
Ms.
And
Brown, especially
whatever you
the
do,
personal attacks.
you can believe this, you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, and it's not in my time, and I don't ask. And I don't try to get back at people. I leave that up to God. But you reap what you sow. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Ms. Brown.
Board.
This is personal attacks, the personal attacks.
Anyone else from the board?
Oh, just one, just one comment, kind of to cover what Ms. McGee was saying. I mean, I understand, that in that position, but specifically, this job description is for a person who is working directly with or supervising principals in the educational curriculum of educating children. So,
They assist principals.
right, so, I mean, it just makes sense to me that, and I understand qualifications of having worked for years in association with working with principals, but if you haven't sat in that chair.
Right.
How do you get to sit in the chair?
By
being-
making it to be a principal.
By being a principal. And I mean, you know what I'm,
I was the only one that had the principal.
Principalship,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right, you're correct.
They had, I'm sorry, you're right, Marie.
Marie
yeah,
was the
yeah.
principal.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
Our supervisor of SPED now hadn't been a principal. She works for that.
yeah.
I'm not talking about anybody. I'm
No,
not.
I
I'm
understand.
You just
what-
trying to
I
get
understand
that-
what you're trying to say.
Yeah, we're trying to hear you out.
You ought to get the understanding of the position.
And
Or
I
what
guess
they
what
do,
we're saying is
yeah.
the person that I'm referring to is doing, has done exactly what the job description asked for, working with the principal.
Other than
Got all the qualifications, except she didn't sit in that seat. But she's done everything a curriculum person does. And she's done it, and because she did sit in that seat, I just don't feel like it. She doesn't even get an interview for it. I just don't feel like this.
Is there anyone else on board? Okay.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Anyone else? As we prepare I also want to, thank our educators and all the students who are preparing for the students, for the elite exam. We thank you all for that, and if you would just get the word out to them, how they were, encouraging our kids to make sure they do well on the elite exam. Also, we want to thank Dr. Hurst for sitting on the board representing us as well, and also to Ms. Walker and to her committee for our audit report, as we received no discrepancies. We thank you, that goes off to you and to thank
Speaking of
each one.
teachers, we have Ms. Lizette Watterson here tonight, who's going to show on board for retirement, teacher's retirement.
Yes.
Ms.
Yeah.
Lizette, so we do have retirement tonight. So
Thank you
Ms.
for
Lizette,
coming
just wanna
attending with us.
Recognize Ms. Lizette.
Any other comment? Okay.
Ms. Lizette.
We don't have no personal comments.
Okay. Oh, yeah, we took that out.
Yeah.
They took that out.
Well,
I'm
we
sorry,
don't have,
Ms. Lizette.
we don't have that, no public
You have anything?
participation.
Oh, I thought you had something. Oh, okay, okay, all right.
The next time, I think if you want to present something from retirement system,
We put it on the
just
agenda.
put it on the agenda.
We would put it on the agenda,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Closing the meeting, next board meeting will be May 28th, 2026 at 5:30. Thank you.
Yeah.